Hello, my friends. Welcome to another video. I want to start this video by saying a huge thank you to each and every single one of you. As of filming this, we have reached 500 subscribers, which is a huge milestone, and I could not be more grateful for you being here. I also wanted to say thank you for all of the amazing comments that I've been getting. I know a lot of you found me through the market recap and that video and the pricing and things like that. I've just been getting so many great comments, suggestions, and ideas. And I also want to say I hear you. And these next three videos are going to specifically be around a lot of what those comments were about. As you saw by the title for this video, today we're going to talk all about the mystery boxes. I had some questions as far as what exactly they are, the cost breakdown and all that. So I'm going to run through all of those details in today's video, and then I'll show you my makes. As always, there'll be timestamps, so you can skip to the makes if you're not interested in the market details. And then in the next two videos, I'm going to be also touching on items that I got a bunch of comments and requests for. The first is going to be kind of like my whole tablescape. So the fixtures that I use, a couple of things that Mr. Skane made for the table, and just some, some items that I'm using so that I can share that with you. And I also thought it would be a good time to kind of look at what the cost was for all of that. Those are all one-time purchases, but as I mentioned in my pricing video, Enchanted Skein is going to be in the red for a little bit because of those expenses, but I figured we'd break those down. It's almost the end of the year. I'm going to have to do that anyway and put all that together for taxes and stuff. So yeah, I thought we'd go through that. And then in the video after that, so in 2 weeks, that video is going to be all about SKUs and barcodes. I got a lot of comments asking about, showing how I did the barcodes and all of that. And the reason it's a couple of videos from now is I'm kind of working behind the scenes, because I'm going to be giving you in that video a link to download for free a resource that's going to create barcodes for you. So it's just something you can open in Excel or Google Sheets. It'll generate a SKU if you want the SKU, and then therefore use that to generate a barcode for you. So if you want to get into barcodes, or at least just play with it and see how it works, I'm going to be giving you that resource for free in that video. So it's just taking me a little longer to put all of that together. And then in a video, maybe one or two after that, I'm going to also be giving a free resource for building pricing. I do want to get this other market under my belt and double check all of my pricing strategy and calculations one more time, with a real scenario. And then once I know that's locked in, I am actually going to be sending a sample of that over to Tracy at Travel Crochet, and she volunteered to kind of plug her stuff into it and test it out and see if it's working well. And then once we know that that's solid, I'll make a video all about that and include that resource for you as well. So yeah, some exciting things coming. Keep the ideas flowing for me. I love it when you guys are asking me for things, because then it kind of, it validates that it's stuff that you do want to hear about. But again, if you don't want to hear about it, you can use the timestamps to skip ahead and just see my makes. So, all right, let's get into mystery boxes. My mystery boxes are actually mystery bag charms. And what I wanted to do originally was use some sort of mini plushie, with a keychain and some crystals and things to kind of elevate it and make it a bag charm. And I originally did not want that to overlap with my minis. So I have the mini plushies that I charge $5 for. And then I wanted to charge $12 for my mystery bag charms, which I'll probably just refer to as mystery boxes in the video. But I didn't want the plushies to be the same. So I didn't want you to be able to buy the $5 plushie or buy the bag charm and it's the same plushie that you're getting. But I did end up making an exception as I was prepping for the market because I was running out of time. And I ended up using the mini bees. The mini sitting bees that I showed you in the other video, I used as the mystery bag charms as well, because I thought they were super cute. And I thought this would be something that I would hang from my bag. So this was the only overlap. I'm debating if I want to overlap more and have like opossums in there and some things that were really popular, because I think some of the other items that I had in the mystery bag charms, and I'll put a picture up of all of them, but like the toad and the raven, they weren't so popular. People bought them all, so it was fine. But the ones that were more popular from a mini standpoint, do I want to put those in my bag charms? I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing yet. I'm making a ton of minis, and then I'll decide as I get towards the market. I am still making some that are exclusive to the mystery bag charm because they take a little longer. So like the mini dragons and things like that. But yeah, so it all starts with a mini plushie. And then, and I don't like the really huge bag charms. I wanted to just make something that I knew I could keep sturdy and, you know, wasn't too large for the keychain and stuff. But so I'm using these. And then what I'm doing is just taking a cotton yarn and creating a loop and bringing, you know, the tied ends inside the plushie and using that to attach to the keychain. So the cost of this will vary depending on which mini plushie I'm using. But what I decided to do was just use an average of $1.75 for the cost of materials for the plushie, because that was the biggest one that I have. So the most expensive mini when it comes to materials is $1.72 or something like that. So I just rounded up to $1.75. So that's what I'm using as the cost for the actual plushie in the mystery box. And then I am using a double lobster claw keychain for these bag charms, and those come in a pack of 20 on Amazon for $8.99, which is about 45 cents each. I will have a link to everything that I talk about in the description below, but basically it looks like this. It's got a large lobster claw here. It's got this swivel point with a smaller lobster claw, and then you've got an actual key ring. So if someone wanted to put their keys on this, they could as well. And I've got this in 3 different metal finishes. So I chose to just kind of mix things up. So I've got a gold, I've got a silver, and then a gunmetal or black kind of look to it. And then on my sign, I put that, you know, that color could vary. It's not specific to the plushie because we're just kind of doing them with what we think looks good. And then to kind of elevate things a little bit, I am creating and attaching a little crystal dangle charm to kind of go on each of these. And I'm just correlating that with the colors that make sense for the plushie. So something that just ties together with it. I actually didn't have to purchase the materials for this, but I am going to give you some cost breakdowns based on what I find on Amazon. And again, everything's linked below. I had some crystals already from my jewelry making past, as well as the jewelry making pins that you would need. As far as if you were having to purchase this and what I'm including in the estimated cost of creating one of these mystery boxes, when it comes to the pins, you can get them in a pack of 800 for $9.49 on Amazon. So it's like a penny each. So I'm going to go ahead and count 1 penny for the pins for creating the dangle. And when it comes to the crystals, you can get good looking crystals in a pack of like 500 for $15.99 on Amazon, which roughly boils down to about 3 cents per crystal. And given the fact that I usually put like 2 or maybe 3 on them, I'm just including 10 cents as an average for the cost of creating each of the mystery bag charms. Once they are all assembled, I wrap them in tissue paper so that if you peek in the box, you're not going to see which one you're getting. And I just use a tissue paper that I got off of Amazon. This is folded into 4, but they were 960 sheets for $27.99. So I'm accounting 3 cents per sheet for that in my calculations. And then what I do is I use a sticker that I print on my Munbin printer. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but it basically just says which charm lies within or inside. And then I use that to just kind of stick the tissue paper closed. And I think it just adds a little layer of, you know, something extra when they go to open it. They've got this little sticker that they've got to kind of break the seal to get into. I actually didn't pay for these stickers specifically. I bought a bundle when I bought my printer, and I think these are the ones that came with it. But you can get them in a roll of 500 for $23.99, which is about 5 cents per sticker. So that's what I'm going to include in the cost for the mystery box. All right, let's talk about the boxes themselves. So originally I wanted to use these question mark boxes that I found on Amazon, but once they came in, I realized that they were significantly larger than the plushies. So it was kind of anticlimactic if you put it in there and you open up this big box and there's just this little bundle inside. And it's kind of like one of those things when you get a bag of chips and you open it and you're like, really? But I didn't want to have that be the experience for my customers. So I ended up returning those, and I found these plain black boxes on Amazon. So you can get 50 of these boxes for $17.99, which is about 36 cents each. Now, I did not want just a plain black box, obviously, so I ended up trying to think of how I could make this thing a little more special. I thought about using metallic markers and drawing and kind of giving it this kind of homemade look, and then I was like, I don't have time for that. I think that would be a cool option, but I just did not have time for that. So I decided to turn to my Munbin printer, not sponsored, but kind of feel like it should be because I use that thing like crazy. I love that printer. I bought a roll of stickers from Amazon. So these are the stickers, and as you can see, they go from like different colors of the rainbow, which I really, really loved. You can get 200 of these for $8.99. Which boils down to about 4 cents each. And you're using 5 of them per box. So I'm putting 20 cents down for the cost of the box. And I'll show you how I do that. So basically what I did is I created a little question mark side panel. And then I just literally print 4 of those and put them on the sides of the box. And then I created a topper, which just says, mystery bag charm, and it has at Enchanted Skein on it. So that way it just kind of adds a little appeal. They look pretty cool. They catch the light. I started to get anal retentive and want everyone on the top to be the purple sticker. And I was just like, yeah, you need to let that go and just print them. And truth be told, once they're sitting out, having the tops be all different colors, the way it catches the light, it actually worked out in my favor to not be anal retentive like that. So that was a good thing. But all right, let's break down the cost of each individual mystery box. So we have the boxes themselves, which are 36 cents each. We have the stickers on the outside of the box, which are 20 cents per box. We have the lobster claw keychain, which is 45 cents per charm. The tissue paper, which is 3 cents. The silver sticker that kind of seals the tissue paper is 5 cents. The pins to create the dangle are 1 cent. And then the crystals, we're going to estimate about 10 cents. So that gives us $1.25 plus our mini plushie. So we'll say $1.75 in materials for the mini plushie. And that brings us to $3 per mystery bag charm. Now that doesn't necessarily include labor. If we wanted to include labor, which I don't, these take me roughly 20 minutes to make, maybe for the most complex of the mini plushies. Be looking at maybe $3 in labor. So if you wanted to look at it that way, the cost with labor and materials would be maybe $6. And I charge $12 per mystery box. So I'm pretty happy with that. I originally wasn't sure if I should consider increasing the price. I might for some specialty stuff down the road if I make a little bit bigger of a plushie for a bag charm or add some stuff to zhuzh it up. But I'm pretty satisfied with it for now. And I think that's what I'm going to do going into this next market. And speaking of that next market, it is holiday themed, which I have mentioned before. So I am going to do probably 5 or 8, depending on how much time I have to get it done, holiday specific mystery bag charms. So same price, but if someone wants to purchase that, holiday version, they're feeling the holiday spirit and they want to do that. And I think I'm going to be using the patterns by Poggy's Place, the little characters that she's got for the holidays there. I haven't purchased it yet, but that's what I'm thinking. And I found at Hobby Lobby these really cool little danglies that I'm going to be using instead of or with the crystals. These retail at $11.99 for 16 of them, but it was 50% off. So, it boils down to maybe like 30 cents a charm or something like that. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and include these on the holiday versions, and we'll see how that goes. If they don't sell, I'll keep them for next year. Something worthwhile mentioning, I think, is that when I go to market, I don't actually have the mystery bag bag charms in the boxes. I just assemble the boxes as far as the stickers go. I keep them packed flat. And then I have all of the mystery bag charms in the tissue paper with the sticker. So those are just kind of in a basket and with my plushies, and then bring it all in. And then as I'm setting up, I just pop these boxes together. They fold together really quickly, but that way it keeps the boxes looking really crisp. I don't get any crushed edges. I don't have to worry about how I'm transporting them and all that. I will probably talk about it a little more in next week's video when I talk about those fixtures and things like that. But I got essentially what is like a spice rack type display, and it just so happens to perfectly fit the mystery boxes. So that's how I display them, along with a picture frame and that sign that just kind of says, you know, the crystals and the colors of the metal may vary. And I have one in actual size so that there's no question as to what they're getting, and then the different options that are within. So I'll probably have to update that sign depending on what I decide to go in the mystery boxes for the next market, but we shall see. But yeah, that is essentially what I do for my mystery boxes. That's the cost behind it. I'm pretty happy with that. And that's what I'm taking forward, at least for this next market. All right, let's get into this week's makes. So my goal for this week was to make 15 mini opossums and 5 baby opossums and 5 large opossums. This is not the snugglers that I've made before, but just kind of, you know, some actual chunky plushies. And I was able to accomplish that. I made 15 of these minis, which again, I will show you in our basket O minis because we don't need to see me try to hold all of these at once. And then I made 5 baby possums. These 3 are in Mystical. This is the pattern by QB Crochet with the little color changes, which this is kind of a pain while you're doing it, but it comes out so cool. So it's definitely worth it. So I made 3 in the Bernat Mystical 6.5 millimeter hook for all of these, and 8 millimeter eyes. And then I made 2 in the Bernat Dappled, which I actually like a lot better for all of the possums, but I was running pretty low on this, so I mixed it up with the Mystical. The only thing I would do differently on this pattern if I were to make it again is I would probably not bother with the color change at the nose. I probably would just do it in white and embroider the nose on afterwards, for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's just tedious. It's a 4 in a magic ring. And then number 2, I feel like it's quite a big nose for the size of the head. So I think just in the future, I'm going to probably embroider that on for this size. And then I made 5 in the large size. This was a bundle pack where you could buy the baby and the large. So that's what I did there. And this one, I think it makes a lot more sense for the size of the nose to do the color change, which, you know, works well. But like I said, on the baby ones, I think I would do that differently. These guys could almost stand to have a crocheted chain tail as well, but it's fine. You know, same thing with the color change on the feet, but I did 2 of these in the Mystical. And I did get 1 out of the Dappled before I lost Yarn Chicken. So that one's in Dappled. And then I ended up just doing the last 2 in a plain gray Bernat, just because I didn't have any more of the other 2. So, and once I finished those, I still had a little bit of time. I worked on my crochet roulette make, but I was looking up at my yarn stash and realized that I had some sweet snuggles from when I was making the snuggler opossums. So I decided to see how large a jumbo one would come out, and ended up making this guy here. He didn't come out as big as I thought he was going to come out, honestly, compared to the other size. He's still significantly larger, but just kind of not as big as I envisioned. But it's fine. It wasn't a joy to do, so I stopped there. But so I have 1 jumbo, 5 of the large, 5 of the babies, and the 15 minis, which worked out really well. My plan for the makes this week is to get the Five Nights at Freddy's characters done. I want to get 2 of the bear and 2 of the bunny done, as well as I will pick from the list of minis that I need to make. I think I have left on that list quite a few of them that I'd like to get done, some axolotls, some rats, and some things like that. So I'll pick one of those, and that's going to be my goal for next week. So Yeah, that's all I have for you today. I'm really looking forward to those next couple of videos where I can share some of the stuff that I did for the table as well as the barcode stuff. So looking forward to that. I hope you'll join me there. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.